What up, people? It's your boy Chig from Green and Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new review. This time is to talk about West Brom versus Arsenal. Now, at the point I'm recording this, the game hasn't yet started, so I'm just going to talk about the starting lineup. Before I do that, I just want to take the opportunity one more time to wish you all a happy new year, and also to thank my guests that came on in my previous show, Kenny Ken, Lee and Ola. People seem to really love the show, and if you're watching this and you ain't watched that, go and watch it. It's worth a watch. I'm planning to bring you guys a lot more live shows in 2018. There's no getting away from it. You guys seem to love it, so I'm really going to make a conscious effort to not only have my usual guests on, but to also have different types of guests on, people who you've never seen on before. So I've made contact with people like Claude. Hopefully, if Claude's listening, I've got to have you on at some time in the new year, mate. So that's a plan of mine. Anyway, getting back to the review of the game and the starting lineup. So going into the starting lineup of this game, it seems to be the same team apart from one change. Interestingly, there is no Mesut Ozil anywhere in the squad. I know a lot of people are always skeptical about Ozil absences, particularly when he's been in the last year of the contract. They do seem to happen when they happen, and it usually comes off the back of when we've had a game maybe 2 or 3 days before, Mesut just seems to be randomly missing from the next game. You watch, he'll be back in we've got a game in 2 days time. He'll be back in that squad with no explanation as to why he was missing from this squad. So I'm just going to take it for what it is. He's injured. So let's just go with that. Alex Iwobi's in the starting lineup. I'm hoping by the time it's halftime and I come back to you guys, he has proved himself and he's done something good. I know it's fashionable these days to criticize Alex Iwobi. I still see a talent there. I'm still positive that there's a good player there, just is horribly being managed. But we'll see. It is also the chance. There's been a lot of fuss going into the game about the fact that this is Wenger's 811th game. So he's broken Sir Alex Ferguson's record. Whenever there is a milestone that Arsenal players never turn up, so I'm a little bit worried about that. And Callum Chambers came out earlier to say that you know, they were more than aware of what milestone it was. So we'll see if the players turn up. Anyway, people, I'm out of here. I'll be back at halftime. I told you I'll be back. It's halftime, and yeah. If I didn't tell you anything at this point, how do you think an Arsenal match would have gone? If I'm going to tell you now, it's a halftime and it's 0-0. What would you say? If you didn't watch the match, well, how do you think we would have played? Because exactly what you're thinking is exactly how we played. You know, I think it's been... I wouldn't necessarily say we've dominated per se. We dominate possession like we always do, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was comfortable as, say, Palace was. But, you know, just our quality in the final third is just poor. Xhaka giving the ball away a lot. Kolasinac has come off injured, so Ainsley Maitland-Niles is now on. The irony of that, I know. Chet flapped at a ball really early and it was really, really bad, but he didn't concede. West Brom started to come into it towards the back end of the first half. And it's just a dull game, you know. Quintessential Arsenal, really. But let's look at the positives. We're not a goal down. It looks at least tighter than the game was last year, where there was a lot of bad feeling and atmosphere amongst the Arsenal fans. This year it's more about acceptance. So we're kind of just, it is what it is. Let's see what the second half brings. All right, I'll be back later. So I'll come back to join you. And it's finished 1-1. I hate Mike Dean. I hate Mike Dean. I hate Mike Dean. I hate Mike Dean. So Alexis scores a great free kick, deflected, but it was clever. It was done in such a way in which he was going to encourage a deflection. In fact, so much so the goal might even be taken away from him because initially it was off target. But I like to think he slightly meant it anyway. But I actually thought was probably our most dangerous player, the player that was most likely to score. And shock horror, he scored. Oh, fuck. I don't even want to talk about this. But essentially, as per usual, Bellerin was missing. And Gibbs, who I completely forgot plays for West Brom these days, found himself almost in a one-on-one situation with Callum Chambers. Callum Chambers held his ground. His arms weren't in any sort of unnatural position whatsoever. They were right by his side. Gibbs does that thing he usually does where he tries to flick it past the player. You remember when Gibbs played for us, you always used to do that type of shit. When he kind of tried to lift the ball past him and it hit Callum Chambers' arm. By the way, Callum Chambers is maybe 3-4 feet away from him. Again, his arm is not in an unnatural position, but it is in the penalty area. This idiot blows his whistle going, penalty, penalty, penalty. And you know, when you got a penalty against Czech, you might as well just give the team another goal. It's just that type of shit. And you know, and I've seen people online already talk about, don't blame Mike Dean, blame Arsene Wenger. What has Arsene Wenger got to do with that? Listen, I want Arsene Wenger out too, but let's fucking have some shit in perspective. Do you know what I mean? You know, if I trip up and fall today, that's not Arsene Wenger's fault. Do you know? If I don't win the lottery after playing the lottery, that's not Arsene Wenger's fault. Let's calm down, people. I've seen some people say, it's Arsene Wenger. How is that Arsene Wenger's fault? To be honest with you, I thought the game was shit. I felt like we would eventually get the win. I did predict on my Twitter, because I know I didn't do a preview, but I did predict on my Twitter that it would be a 1-0 to us, and I felt like it would be a late goal. And so it happened. It was a late goal. And I felt we would see it out, and then just that type of bullshit prevented it from happening. Very disappointed. There's nothing else really to say about it. I think we're further off the pace than ever. I think we're probably getting to that point in the season now where we have to throw all our eggs into this Europa League basket and make this thing work. Just to think 2 days from now, we've got fucking Chelsea on top of that all. And we picked up injuries to Koscielny and Kolasinac. It's not good. All right, people, you let me know what you think. How do you see the game playing out? I can imagine a lot of you will appropriate some blame to Wenger, and maybe that should be the case. But to me, we've been utterly cheated out of 3 points here. Completely cheated. You know, I hate Wenger too, but this is not Wenger's fault. This is just plain old officiating bullshit. You could argue, why is Wenger even starting people like Iwobi in the first place? And he was poor. I'll be the first one to admit it. He was poor. And it's getting harder each week to defend this kid. I'll be honest with you. But even so, that bullshit right there, we should have had 3 points. Anyway, guys let me know what you think. Comment down below. You know I try to reply to every single comments that are dropped. So do drop as many comments as you like. Also, crush that like button for me. Absolutely destroy the shit out of it. And hit that subscribe button. That's the only way you can catch all the shows that I have coming up for you, particularly in the new year. Right, I'm off to go and get pissed. So, Happy New Year to you all. Very much enjoy your New Year's Eve, no matter what you're doing, whether it's a quiet one or a wild one. Just be careful, stay safe. And I'll catch you guys in the new year for a lot more new content, a lot more new guests, and a lot more me. All right, take care. Peace.